Okay, good morning, millionaires. Good morning, millionaires. I hope everybody's feeling good this morning. My name is Haziq Ali. I'm a revenue acceleration coach, a self esteem development expert, starting with my own. And I'm here to give you something every single day that's going to help you go further, faster, with less effort. I want to encourage you to like, comment, share. Give me a replay, gang, if you're checking out the replay. I hope by now you know that we got the best newsletter in the game coming out every Friday at 3:30 p.m. Every Friday at 3:30 p.m. Eastern, we send out the best newsletter in the game. You know, you can find me on Instagram, Haziq Ali, or No Money Down King will get you there as well. You know what I'm saying? For other reasons. You know what I'm saying? But I hope everybody's feeling good this morning. I do believe that what I got for you this morning is gonna kind of like shake you up. I don't know what's the last incredible book that you read, but this morning I want to tell you about a book called The Alchemist. I don't know how many of you have heard of this book. It's from Paulo Coelho. You know what I mean? He's like this ill, just ill dude who wrote this whole book in like 2 weeks. You know what I mean? It was originally published in 1988 in Portuguese. And like I said, he wrote it in 2 weeks. And yet this joint has been released in 56 languages so far. About 56 languages so far. This book has been on the New York Times bestseller list for something like 300 years, something crazy like that. No, I'm just playing, but it's been like on the bestsellers list for like 315 weeks, which is crazy. It sold over 65 million copies. I'm talking about a book called The Alchemist. The reason I think this is incredible is because even though he wrote this joint in 2 weeks, because as he puts it, the book was already kind of written in his soul. I get what he's talking about. I've had songs do that. And my own book, it doesn't feel like I wrote it. You know what I mean? It feels like it wrote itself. So I can get where he's coming from with that, not that I wrote, The Alchemist. You know what I mean? But the point that I'm making is one of the most powerful quotes in the whole book is, and when you want something, all the universe conspires in helping you to achieve it. Can somebody write that in the notes? And when you want something, the entire universe conspires in helping you to achieve it. So even though this joint didn't sell that many copies at first, the whole universe conspired to help this book become a hit. Today it's sold over 65 million copies, like I said, 315 weeks on the New York Times bestseller list. It also holds the Guinness Book of World Records record for the book that's been translated the most times. It's called The Alchemist. So if you're ready, you know what I mean? Everybody rep your city. Let me know where you're from. It's check-in time. Rep your city and then give me a share. And I'm going to tell you a couple things about The Alchemist. The reason I went into this, I'm going to give you 3 lessons from it. And then I'm going to give you like a bunch of quotes from the book that you can use. Any of the quotes that you agree with, maybe you type them in the comments. Maybe you write them in your notes. Maybe you share it with somebody so that you remember to watch it again with them, because who knows, maybe one of these encapsulated pieces of wisdom will turn you up like it's turned up 65 million people all around the world. We're not counting people that done read it in the library or listened to the audio book. Here's the first lesson that I want to give you. It's like, check it out. You have a personal legend that you must follow if you want to be happy and fulfilled. If you want to be happy and fulfilled, you have a personal legend that you must follow. That's the first lesson in the book we're going to talk about a little bit. The second lesson in the book that we'll talk about is that your fear is holding you back more than anything else. Somebody give me that in the comments and then give me a share. Your fear is holding you back more than anything else. And here's a third lesson from The Alchemist. The secret of life is to fall down 7 times and get up 8. You thought that was a Cardi B lyric. You know what I mean? That's crazy, Jamila. That's crazy. See that? Check it out, y'all. The secret of life is to fall down 7 times and then get up 8. So, lesson 1, right? If you want to reach your biggest goals and feel fulfilled, you got to follow your personal legend. So the book centers around this young cat named Santiago. You know what I mean? He's like this Spanish shepherd, and he keeps having the same dream where he's supposed to go to these pyramids and look for treasure, right? So he ends up chopping it up with this gypsy woman, and he's trying to figure out what the dream means. And again, she says, you got to go to Egypt. And then he meets this cat named Melchizedek. I'm gonna call him that, Melchizedek. You can't hear. I ain't do the audiobook version. I read it. So Melchizedek, you know what I mean? He tells the dude the same thing. He's like, but this time he uses this way of putting it that kind of puts it all into perspective for the young man. He says, you got to follow your personal legend. He uses the word personal legend to explain what he got to do. So he thinks about it a little bit and he decides, you know what? This is my personal legend. This is the only way I'm going to be a legend. This is the only way anybody ever going to tell my story. I'm going to the pyramids. So he sells all his sheep and he starts heading towards the pyramids. Through the rest of the book, this dude is constantly running into all these obstacles, right? Constantly running into all this adversity. Write this down in your notes. No adversity, no glory. No adversity, no glory. And then give me a share. Check it out. Every single obstacle, he overcomes it, and then he finds some more success. He finds some more fulfillment. Check this out, millionaire. You got a personal legend too. I want you to think about it. And your personal legend is as unique as you are. You might already know what it is, and you just need a little courage to jump after it. You know what I mean? Or maybe you have no idea. I don't know if for you it's a career legend. I don't know if it's a family legend, a health legend. Maybe it's some other dream you got. But here's what I know. You're going to have to break the pull of gravity on your rocket ship if you're going to get to that upper atmosphere. You know, with a rocket ship, it uses 80% of its fuel just trying to break gravity. Once it gets up into space, I'm talking about it's so easy to get momentum. A little baby could push that space shuttle and it's just going to start spinning in the air like, whee, you know what I mean? But to break that gravitational pull, and what you got to remember is you have a gravitational pull over your life. Reading stories like this help you put it all in perspective so you understand that it's going to be worth it. It ain't going to be perfect, but it's going to be worth it in the end. Nobody said it was going to be easy, but all we can promise ourselves is that it's going to be worth it. And when you begin to read stories like this, when you begin to pay attention to underdog stories around your life, when you begin to look at different fables that have stood the test of time, you start to understand that there are some universal truths behind some of the struggle that you're avoiding or some of the struggle that you find yourself mired in. What I'm saying is sometimes we're avoiding our blessing by avoiding that struggle. Sometimes when we're numbing ourselves with Netflix, what we're doing is ruining our net worth. You get what I mean? And once you begin, the whole universe will conspire to make it happen. But that don't mean you're going to be without difficulties. Here's the second lesson they gave you in that joint. Stop being afraid if you want to remove the barriers that keep you from moving forward. Stop being afraid. It is that fear that's keeping the barrier stuck there. You know, they break it down in the book like where the homie, he gets to Tangier or whatever, and he can't speak the language. He don't understand the culture. He ends up getting all his money stolen from him. He starts to feel like this is the worst decision that he ever made. Why the heck is he in Spain? But then he remembers Melchizedek, right? He remembers Melchizedek and the game that he gave him, right? So he's paying attention to all of these signs and symbols. You know, we always talk about how God talks in signs and symbols. Well, they use a word in this book called omens. He starts to notice different omens and symbols. This makes him recommit to his personal legend. Now, check this out, y'all. How many times do you see like little things like how Jamila was like, yo, I just finished reading this book and here we are. She says things like that all the time. These are signs and symbols that she's on the right track. How many of you have set a goal, right? Set a goal for yourself, and then all of a sudden you get a phone call. You see a piece of information. all of a sudden some article pops out to you in some blog you were reading, right? That all has to do with you fulfilling this thing you were just not telling yourself you needed. This is your legend. So in the book, he starts to recognize certain things. The merchant, he runs into this merchant, you know what I mean? This hustler cat who recognizes him as being a good omen. And next thing you know, they're listening to each other. One of the things that the man says to him is you need to take more risks with your business. He does that, he gets rich, right? Check this out. What made that merchant able to speak into that young man's life is that the merchant understood his own personal legend. It's interesting. It's an interesting difference, and it is a stark difference that you'll notice when you have people around you who don't know what the heck they're supposed to be doing versus people around you that understand their own personal legend. Because this older gentleman recognized his own legend, he was able to help the young man with his. You ever heard the phrase, it takes one to know one? Man, listen to me. Sometimes you'll notice that it's the great ones around you that notice your greatness. It's the suckers, it's the chumps who can't seem to see it in you. It's the ones that gave up on their life that can't seem to see it in you. But you ever had somebody you consider great, see greatness inside you? You do well to listen to them because they already know their story, and that's why they can recognize you when you're in your own. But when he tells them this, he's still a little too shook up to follow it, right? So what the young homie does, even though the merchant gives up, is he takes his money and he says, you know what? I'm going to keep heading to Egypt. The reason I think that this is a powerful piece of this story is that you also have to chase your dreams before your dreams start chasing you. Fear is the biggest thing that's in the way of the life that you deserve to live. And the only way you can beat fear is with activity. And that leads me to lesson 3. Millionaires. The secret to this thing is rise more times than you fall and you'll never fail. Rise more times than you fall and you'll never fail. Somebody write that down and give me a share. Rise more times than you fall and you'll never fail. So he keeps on rocking. And then this dude tells him about this 200-year-old alchemist, right? This 200-year-old alchemist, you know what I mean? That can turn lead into gold. You know, I love the idea of entrepreneurs. I feel like we're wizards. I feel like we're alchemists. I feel like we turn leads into gold. So while he's there, he's meeting up with the alchemist. He starts seeing omens that tell him that there's going to be an attack on the caravan, right? Because now he's got this new skill set. He can catch it when it's coming. The alchemist starts paying attention to him because you got to serve before you deserve. Because you become valuable, you become powerful. So now the 200-year-old alchemist has taken an interest in young Santiago. So now they meet up. He becomes a young dude's mentor. The alchemist, wouldn't you know it, also starts talking about the power of having a personal legend. He takes what he learns from the alchemist. He's able to turn himself into wind because, you know, the alchemist, you know, tells him that you can't hold the homie. He gonna turn into wind in like 3 days. And Santiago's like, yo, what? You know what I mean? But it's amazing what somebody else's belief in you can end up doing for you, right? So long story short, I ain't gonna ruin the book for you, but here's what I want you to understand, right? At the end of the day, fear is what's holding you back. There are 12 quotes in this thing that I thought were hard body that I kind of wanted to share with you. I want you to kind of like jot these down, you know, maybe put them in your power book. Hopefully you keep a power book from these morning calls that you refer back to when you need some good game. You know what I mean? Hopefully that's how you carry it with these calls. But for this book, they've sold 65 million copies, right? For this book, they've been translated into 56 languages. There's probably some power in this joint that can help you. Write this down. It's the possibility of having a dream come true that makes life interesting. You know, you got certain people that's real bored with their life, right? Maybe they're giving up on the possibility of having a dream come true. Isn't that an interesting quote? Here's another one for you. People are capable at any time in their lives of doing what they dream of. I thought that was really interesting because it speaks to the point that ain't no expiration date on your dreams. It speaks to the point that, like, at any given time, you can choose to make what you see. The whole thing is everything that was ever done was first done by the unqualified. Anything that was ever done for the first time was first done by the unqualified, because the only thing that qualifies you to do something is you done did it before. So if it was done for the first time, it was done by the unqualified. What are some things that you have had God put into your life that you're ignoring because you don't feel qualified? What about this? There's only one thing that makes a dream impossible, and that's the fear of failure. You know, other day I was telling them, I was like, you know, if it's for you, it's for you. You know what I mean? If God say it's for you, it's for you. Can't nobody keep it from you. But what the devil can do is keep you from it by making you not think it's possible, by making you decide you don't want it no more because you don't think it's possible. You get what I'm saying to you? So I thought that was a powerful quote. What about this? What about this? Because another story in there, he talks about his woman of the desert and the fact that, like, your real woman of the desert is waiting for you, but you got to be in the desert. What does that tell you? That means you got to be pursuing who you really are to meet the people that are supposed to be there with you, to meet the people that are going to support and encourage you and nourish that potential, that seed you have inside yourself. You know, and they refer to it as your woman of the desert. What about this? Whenever we love, we strive to become better than we are. When we strive to become better than we are, everything around us becomes better too. Isn't that interesting what love does to you? Isn't that interesting what love does to you? What a quote. When we love, we always strive to become better than we are. And when we strive to become better than we are, everything around us becomes better too. Oh, man. I hope you love yourself. I hope you love service. And I hope you love somebody. You know what I mean? If you love service, you're going to have wealth. If you love somebody, you're going to have relationships. And if you love yourself, you're going to have health. That's what everybody's looking for, baby. But what an amazing thought. What an amazing thought. What about this? Tell your heart that the fear of suffering is worse than the suffering itself, and that no heart has ever suffered when it goes in search of its dreams. Woo! Think about that. The fear of suffering is worse than the suffering itself. And furthermore, no heart has ever suffered that was going after its dreams. Isn't that amazing? What about this one? What about this one? There's only one way to learn. It's through action. Everything you need to know, you've learned through your journey. You know how we always say the only proof of learning is a change in course of action? You talking about they know. Now, you know about it. That doesn't mean you know it. We can tell if you know it. You see what I'm saying? We can tell if you know it, baby, by your fruit. Does that make sense? At one point in the story, the little homie be like, and what's the world's greatest lie? Right? And then the old man replies, it's this, that at a certain point in our lives, we lose control of what's happening to us, and our lives become controlled by fate. That's the world's greatest lie. That's the world's greatest lie. Is that cold? I'm going to say that one more time because maybe you ain't catch it. The little boy asked the old man, he says, what's the world's greatest lie? And then the old man answers, it's this, that at a certain point in our lives, we lose control of what's happening to us, and our lives become controlled by fate. That's the world's greatest lie. That's the world's greatest lie. Is that amazing? That at some point, fate just steps in and you're destined to be a loser. You're destined to be broke. You're destined to be great. right? At some point, fate just steps in and you start having any role in what's happening to you. You stop being the one that is to blame for the life you're living. You stop somehow being responsible. It's over now. Never. That's the world's greatest lie. What about this one? The simple things are also the most extraordinary things, and only the wise can see them. Isn't that powerful? Because most people count their burdens instead of counting their blessings. That ain't just something to put on a bumper sticker on a t-shirt. Literally, when's the last time you counted your blessings? Oh, I'm going to tell you, what you good at is counting your problems. You good at counting your worries. You're good at making everything out to be the awful side that it could possibly be. You're out for worst case scenario, and you don't protect your peace. But check it out. The simple things are also the most extraordinary things, and only the wise can see them. Is that powerful? What about this one? Everyone seems to have a clear idea of how other people should lead their lives, but none about his or her own. Man, or in the words of Jay-Z, everybody could tell you how to do it. They never did it. They never did it. Isn't that interesting? What about this one? What about this one? The secret is here in the present. If you pay attention to the present, you can improve it. And if you improve on the present, what comes later going to get greater too. Man, are y'all feeling me? The Alchemist, y'all, the Alchemist. I hope this was helpful for you. I hope you got something from this. I hope I inspired you to check out the Alchemist. I don't care if you're 52 years old and got this book, you're like, I'm not sure if it's the time to write it. I don't care if you're 17 years old and need to, deciding what you're going to do after high school. This book is incredible. Right? I hope I've done something to kind of spark that in you. It's affirmation time now. It's affirmation time now. Y'all ready? If the line tries to call you, then all you got to do is text call me to the same line. If the line tries to charge you, all you have to do is text call me to the same line. And then it'll write you back. It'll call you right back. You'll hear my mentor's voice come on, and you in the house with us. Let's try these affirmations, man. Good, 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 good. I'm glad to hear that. Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was. Good, good, good. I'm glad to hear that. All right, it's affirmation time. Let's put it to work, y'all. Repeat after me. We always start with the two most powerful yet shortest words in the whole English language. Of course, I'm talking about I am. I am. Now, don't text call me to the text line. Text call me to 667-776-9461. Text call me to 667-776-9461, and then the line will call you right back. The line will call you right back. Try that right now. We're going to do a little affirmations. We're going to do some visualization. We're going to do some breathing. And I'm going to have you out of here in 15 minutes. All right. All right. Repeat after me. Here we go. I am so happy and grateful that money comes to me easily and frequently and in all kinds of ways. Hey, check it out. I was saying that when I was homeless. You know what I'm saying? I'd be sleeping in my car. Now I have a multi-million-dollar net worth, and you can't tell me the two ain't related. You got to speak it like it's already done. You got to think about it. If you own it and you can describe it to me, right? That means you've decided to own it, right? So if you own it intellectually, like you can describe it to me, that's 1/3 of the way. Now, if you can also feel the way it feels to have it already, you're 2/3 of the way there. Now all we're doing is waiting on it to show up in the physical. And all that takes is stirring the pot a little bit. You just got to get busy. And then it's going to show up. You know what I mean? Everything that we want is just waiting on a higher vibration. You got to think about it. That's why fear is always associated with darkness. You'd be like, what is out there? But then we call knowledge, we say it's enlightenment. We say it's enlightenment. But what is light? It's just a higher vibration. It's just a higher vibration of sound. Ain't that crazy? Sound. It all started with sound. God said be. Like in the beginning was a word. You know what I'm saying? Think about that. All right. So when we start with these words, you know what I mean? It's because the consciousness of becoming a thing is the number one way to become it. First, you gotta have a consciousness. Like when Moses ran in that bush, he wasn't like, I do that I do. You know what I mean? He wasn't like I have that I have. He was like, I am that I am. You know what I'm saying? You gotta think about that. It starts with your consciousness, your awareness. The number one way to be rich is to be aware that you're rich. You see what I'm saying? You got to be able to spot it. People with money got money because they know money when they see money. But you got to be before you'll do, before you'll have. It starts with identity. Then you'll move to activity, and then you'll start to have property. You see what I'm saying? All right, I just wanted to tell you that because when I say this, I'm not playing. Like every morning when we do this, these joints saved my life. And then, I got busy. But first I had to be before I would do, before I could have. All right, I'm going to say this one more time, but you got to say it like you mean it. You know what I'm saying? I am so happy and grateful, right? Because I'm aware that money comes to me easily and frequently.